Hi guys. Yeah, new hair. I chopped it all off and I'm going back to my original color. So right now it's a little more reddish blonde in the front. In the back it's hard to tell, but it's more like a caramelly red. And my hair's like my natural hair, which you can see is literally right in between the two, so it actually works out. Kind of enjoying it being short, so I don't know. I originally was like, oh, well, I need to fix my curl pattern because I did so much stuff to my hair, which I'll give a rundown of all the colors that I did and how many times I went from black to blonde to I'll show it all right here, because never again. I feel like maybe subconsciously last year was a really bad year for me. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's because last year was the last year of my 20s. It was just a bad year and I just took it out on my hair. That's what I like to believe. I took it out on a lot of other things, unfortunately, too, but my hair is the thing that I can really fix right now. So stripped it back to normal. My curl has already come back. I'm actually I've gone to a low waist / zero waist, more sustainable hair routine. Things that I'm using, I've actually had really good results with. So my normal filming on Saturday afternoons when I get done running my errands got all wonky. But just Saturday afternoon, I was just so ill and I had just had it with just everything that I'm like, nah, not the time. Like, that's not a side of me that is just pleasant to be around. So is very much a, since it's Wednesday when you guys see this, I works in progress, my whips, and things that I have recently finished. And then also, I want to do kind of like a thing about what you guys can expect in the future, what videos I have planned to work on. I had a poll up and I got some really good feedback on that. To show you guys first, this hasn't been everything that I've made since the beginning of the year. I think I'm going to do like maybe in June, I think I'm going to do like first half of 2023, and then at the end of the year I'll do the second half of 2023. Because as much as I love what I made for an entire year, I work on so much stuff all the time. Especially lately, I've been making more and more things at one time. I've been doing a lot of pattern testing, which I've really been enjoying, so my projects rack up really fast. So it just makes more sense for me to do things biannually. So these are going to be the things that I've recently finished. It hasn't been since the beginning of the year, but I'd say within the last month, this is like the projects that I've completely finished off. This huge, and you guys remember this yarn? This was in my last video. This is how the basket turned out. Originally, yes, I was going to do multiple baskets, but I kind of just really liked this is our sock hamper. So if it starts smelling funky because it's a sock hamper, it can just be washed with the socks because it's cotton yarn. So really like this. I think it turned out really cute. I've actually been making super bulky yarn with my scrap yarn to make a basket, and that's been really fun because I'll be able to, these little scraps, like that was the last of this cake, and then this was all that was left of the bottom, and it took, here's the label so you guys, Premier Home Cotton XL, and it's recycled, which is really cool. It's 85% recycled cotton, 15% polyester. It took this and it's very big capacity. It took all but what you saw of the purple, because that's what I wanted for the bottom, and then it took 2 purple, and then 1 of these guys, and then almost 1 of these, which you saw the scrap from that. And since I did 2 of the purple, and you can't see when it's sitting there, you can't really see the bottom. That's why I made the purple a little bit more up the side, since you got 2 red, just to balance it out some. But I really like it. I definitely want to make more of those in the future. I made it in an afternoon. It really makes up really fast, especially once you get the general, once you get your bottom done and you start working up the top, it just works up super fast. And it was just a really fun project, because I don't work with very big, bulky yarns very often. Not any particular reason why, it's just, I don't usually get it. And I did want to mention, because I did make the whole thing with that Hobby Lobby hook, and I still don't like that grippy bit. Like, I hate that. Like, it's not as tacky as some of them are, but man, I wish that the one exception I have for that grip, the Susan Bates, I do make the Susan Bates, that's how you do a grip. Like, it's just real sleek. It has a slight rubberized texture, but it doesn't have any stickiness to it. It's not a sticky ply. It was more of a stiffer rubber that they've used for this. But this, it's too sticky for my taste. But the hook is actually a really good hook, especially with making that basket and working with such bulky yarn. It's woven yarn. It's not worsted. It's kind of woven together. So this did a really good job of actually being able to like poke down into the full piece of yarn instead of like poking a hole through it. So that was a really good thing with this hook. So if the grips don't bother you, if you're not picky with them, it's a really good hook for, I think, $3 it was, especially to have a bulky hook. And this one was a 15mm size Q, yeah. Other thing I finished, which if you guys follow my Instagram, you have already seen this. I haven't worn these out yet, and that's basically why I haven't completely woven in the ends. But just for picture's sake, it did just fine, and for the purposes of showing you guys, it'll be fine. So these guys, they are garters. I'll link the pattern and my post on Instagram. This little broken heart, and it's a gray color. I kind of wanted to go on the whole till death do us part theme, because they're garters, which are usually associated with brides. So I was just kind of, you know, having some fun with it. And this guy, I am so proud of, with the little RIP. I freehanded this guy, and it's just so cute. Like, I kind of want to make another one, because it's, the way I made it, it's almost like a patch. So I want to make more of those. Or even just kind of copy that same technique and do a couple of different patches at some point, just for fun. Link my post if you guys want to check out what I wrote about it. I will also link the account who authored that I tested for. In that same pattern, you do also have a choker option, and I haven't made the choker yet, but I do want to make the choker, and it was just a really fun thing to make. It was a really cool thing to be a part of. Fastest turnaround of any pattern I've tested. I believe it was a week, and I got those done and photographed thanks to my husband and his help within the week. Those are things I finished within the last month. Now, yes, there technically should be more things, but there's a reason why. And that's because I have works in progress that I'm kind of working on a couple of different things at one time. I have a very big pattern I'm testing for a whole garment, and that has demanded a lot of my time, and that my deadline for that is May 1st. So I've just been working really diligently on that. Just as like a brief summary, I am also working on rewriting a vest pattern from the 1970s for my proportions, because it's supposed to be a UK 8 and I am not a UK 8. So I had to make some changes, because not only am I plus size, but I'm also taller, and I wanted to change a little bit more for my body. I have broad shoulders. I'm just not a small lady. That's just, regardless of the weight that I am, my bone structure, my height, I am just not a small lady. And that pattern was meant more for a petite body type, which is fine, but that's just not me. So therefore, I'm making a new pattern out of it. So that finishes up kind of what my finishes were for the month. Now, this guy, my little Baphomet, and he's, you have to pardon the bit of yarn. That's just where I was attaching his snout. But there's his ears. He's got a little feet. And there's his little tail. And I did make the little chimney, the candle. I call it a chimney because it literally looks like a chimney, but it's a candle. For those of you who know. For those of you who know with Baphomet. But it's a candle, and then I got the horns I need to make, and then, I mean, I still have a lot of smaller things I need to do with him, but he's kind of been chilling. I've been working on him. I started working on him last month, and then I started doing a bunch of test patterns, and he's just kind of been sitting next to my desk, chilling out. But I'll get back to him, and I'll finish him up pretty soon. So here begins my current whips. And there's going to be quite a few, for reasons I already mentioned. And the one I'm going to show you first is going to be a whip for like a hot minute, because it's what I was mentioning with the basket earlier. It's a basket I'm working on with scrap yarn. So as I accumulate scrap yarn, it's going into this basket, or it's going in the basket of the basket. The basket's in a basket right now. So that's, this is the bottom of the basket. It looks like, I mean, I just love the colors. It looks like the earth, like it just different earthy colors. And then right now it has no shape because it's just the bottom and the sides. So, but that's what I'm working on right now. That's the inside. And here's all the scrap yarn that's been going into it. I actually need to add these guys in there. And it's just, every time I look at it, I'm just, oh my god, it's just so gorgeous. And it still has quite a bit of work left on it because it's a shawl. And I've reached that point of this shawl, and I'm sure many of you are going to know what I'm talking about when you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, which is nice when you're sitting there like, this is a good, I like to work on this when I'm watching a movie, basically. Like this has been my movie project, my TV project, things like that. But it is a batwing shawl. And the yarn is Cotton King's Shadow, Sultan Shadow. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a gradient yarn, and I'm about to go into the blue, and then it'll be the black, and I've got another cake of this yarn, so that way I'll be able to completely make sure I do this with all of with all the bits. I haven't decided if I want to do the tassels yet or not, but it's just, the color is just so pretty. So that's one of my long-standing whips that I've been working on. I think I started it in February, and it's just been one of those where I got to a certain point, and then I'm like, okay, I'm starting to lose steam. I just have to keep repeating for like 30 more rows, but originally it was 64 rows of this repeat, like halfway through it, but it's because I literally just work on this right now as a mindless activity while I'm doing something, just to keep my hands busy. Now, I have so many granny squares that I'm working on for a pattern I'm testing for a garment. A lot of squares, and that's been where a lot of my time's been going, is making these guys. And this is just one of the bags. I'm almost done, and then I'll have to assemble everything. This one I haven't touched, admittedly, in a few weeks, is the ever famous, here's one pattern, one panel. It's the hexagon cardigan, and this is one side, which, like, right now it's kind of just like if I were to put it on, it'd be a cropped cardigan, but there's one panel, and here's the other panel. This is the one that I've done the last rows on. That one I need to still catch up and do that other round of black. You'll see that there's these guys, and they're marked with beads. This is 2 beads, the other one has 1 bead, and the corresponding yarn cakes are have the same marker on it with the same number of beads on the marker, because I'm really bad about starting a pattern and loving it and enjoying it, and then I realize I'm done, but I still have to make a whole nother one of these. These are dragon scale gloves. I still haven't made the second one of this, and it's just been hanging over here next to my desk, staring at me. So my remedy for that, and there's a method to my madness, but I'm sure a lot of you people are going to think I'm crazy, is I work on, and you have to kind of strategically do it, and sometimes it's just not fine. It's not, if you know how much yarn you're going to use from the get-go, and it is a lot easier to do it this way. Like, if I have to make 2 of something, I work on them both at the same time. That means, like, I'll do, like for socks, I'll do the toe of one sock, stitch marker it, put it to the side, other toe, ball of the foot, gusset, you know, that whole thing. That's what I'm doing with that cardigan. So instead of cranking out one big panel at one time, I've got both sides that are coming along at around the same rate. Not lose my steam. I have ADHD. It's so hard for me once my brain's like, you're done with this thing. Just seeing one of the finished products, my brain's like, okay, you're done, but I'm not done, and I have to do the whole thing over again. And it's just, it's one of my flaws as a crocheter, any kind of, like, I have to make 2 of something. If I have to make them together. I have to make them, you know, I have to literally make both things at the same time. And I know that probably sounds crazy to some of you, but for me, it works. My last whip that I have is one that it's about to be a real big doozy for me. So far, it has had some hiccups, and part of it was because I admittedly, but I was going out on a limb because I like the color, I used the wrong yarn. And like that's that Foxglove Batik Premier yarn, and it's gorgeous, but it's small. So this was the beginning of the vest that I was making, and I kept wanting to use this yarn, and figured out what I was doing wrong to make it do what it was doing. But it took so much extra effort to get to the point on the pattern, because I was using a smaller yarn, that it really didn't at that point make any sense to me that if I'm going to use all that extra yarn to make up for the gauge, because I'm using a different yarn than what they advise on the pattern, just to make the item bigger, I feel like I was kind of going backwards. I was doing myself a disservice because I was going to use even more yarn and it'd be more time consuming than using something that was comparable to what they were using for the original pattern, but doing my increases and changing it to how I needed to do it so it would fit me. So I'm going to put a screenshot up here of this pattern. I'm going to link the pattern down below, the beginnings. I mean, it's almost done. I'm almost done with it. So here is what I have so far. You guys may have seen the short of, like, when I posted it the other day when it was smaller, but yeah, this is what I have now. This is what the pattern is. So I've basically gotten all the way up to the shoulders, and I'll be making the armholes. So for me to make the armholes, they count so many stitches and all that stuff. Well, since it's literally written with one size in mind, there is no variation of how many you count out. So I've had to do some math. I don't know how accurate that math is because I am not a math person. But the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to stitch mark out where it's saying to do the different things to start creating the armholes. Because this is all one piece. So it'll have the armholes and it'll come around the front and close, which you can kind of see in that pattern that I flashed up there. You can kind of see on the picture. This is from the 1970s. I'm not sure the exact year. Something tells me it was like 77, but I could be totally wrong. It was, this has been what has kept me sane while my son has been sick. It's been my, okay, let me collect my thoughts, let me just have a moment to myself. That's what I worked on. It is a spiderweb vest. I'm using Lion brand mandala. This is I like this one so much that I literally bought bulk, and I bought 2 shrink wrap flats of it, and each one had 6 cakes on it, so I have 12 cakes of this. But it's Wizard. Yes, it's in the color Wizard. As far as what is coming up in my channel, most of you guys want to see a speed loom and mending something, and I have been wanting to try that for so long. I figured what a better way to do it than to chronicle me learning this skill, because I am very much a person that will use something until it falls apart, and a lot of my family is, so I have a lot of things that I could potentially mend. I also have some tutorials that I have in mind that I'm going to be doing soon. I want to do a video all about magic circles because everybody has their own way of doing it. My way is a little bit different than other people's way, but I feel like it took me so long to figure out the right way to do it and for a way for me to be able to remember how to do it, that once I kind of got in the groove of it, because of, especially when you're making things with granny squares and you're starting off with a magic ring, it's just way easier to start your projects with a magic ring if you have to do anything in the round. I want to do a video about hooks, crochet hooks, what my favorites are, what ones that I like to try a lot of different ones. I feel like different types of hooks are best for different jobs, different materials, different lengths of projects. There's a lot more than just, oh, I like this brand, oh, I like this style, I like inlined, I think there's literally a place for all of those crochet hooks in what you do. I want to do a favorites video, but I also, is that something that you guys would even be interested in? Because some of it may not all be crafting stuff. I'm really invested in the arts in general, so I listen to a lot of music. I digest a lot of movies. I love to cook and bake, so I do a lot of things like that. So it may not all be necessarily like fiber art related. Also, at some point, and I think I'll probably do it after, if I get into the hundreds, I do kind of want to dabble in live streaming eventually. I'd like to do like just come chill with me and work on your projects and let's talk about some things. I've kind of tossed around doing something with that and like maybe telling a story, kind of doing like a campfire thing. I thought that would be really cool. I've been really motivated by coming back to YouTube and doing this again, especially when I'm in an element that I like so much and care so much for, and has basically helped me survive the last few years, has been crochet and fiber arts, and just leaning really into my artistic side on the times that I've really haven't had much of anything else to lean on. And this channel is part of that journey, and I look forward to just being able to share and talk about the stuff that I'm interested in and it be shared amongst like-minded people. It just means a lot to me. I was always the weird quiet kid that like I finally got to open my mouth and I would just be, people just, it's hard for a lot of people to relate to me, and it's hard for me to relate to a lot of people. So the fact that there are the amount of you guys that there are already is a really big deal to me. And if I keep talking about this, I am going to cry. Hence why I keep diverting my eyes from the camera. There are a lot of things that I do want to eventually get for this channel to improve my channel, but right now is just not possible. It's not feasible right now out of my pocket. So I'm just working with what I have right now, and just know that as this channel grows and as I do and am able to, I will be able to have, you know, better quality lighting. I'm gonna stop rambling. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for watching this video today. If you do like what you see and you want to become a part of our little crafty coven, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up if you like, or hit the bell if you want to know when I do upload. I upload once a week, usually on Mondays, but it's just been kind of wonky with some things going on. Thank you so much, and I really hope to see you guys again next time. Bye.